Hello, welcome to the Onyx Path News, number 23. Number 23. 23 is a special number, don't you think? Well, I like it. It's always been one of my favourites. What am I rambling about? Well, I usually like to start with some kind of rambling preamble because no one's here. No one tunes in at the very start of these videos. So it's very important for me to just fill the air with noise. I have to do that because when you tune in, you don't just want to see me sitting here twiddling my thumbs or doing something worse. Paladin Demo, who has just arrived, wants me to roll initiative. So as we're currently killing time waiting for an audience to show up. Hello, Travis. Hello, Elijah. Let's roll initiative. Let's see what my initiative is today. I've got my mint tea dice bag. No thumb twiddling or indeed twiddling with any other body part. That's not the Onyx pathway. We'll go with this lovely, rather garish D20 and roll initiative in the old-fashioned way. Old-fashioned being D&D 3rd edition today, I have got a 9. Now, I would suggest that my dexterity, my personal dexterity, is probably somewhere around the 8 to 10 region. So we'll go for 8. We'll shoot low and assume that I'm on a -1, so my initiative for today is only an 8. I think that probably means that if any of you are kobolds, goblins, or the like who are prone to getting in my face, yeah, that you're probably going to go first and stab me with your little javelins. Hello, Charlie, Gary, Charlie Jerry, Charlie. Yellow sign, I should call you. I have seen the yellow sign. He is right here. This is the yellow sign, otherwise known as Haster. My son likes to point out that Haster has a bottom on the back of his head. I don't think Haster minds. He has other things in place of ears. So anyway, yeah, I got it right the first time according to Charlie. Well, that's wonderful. Those miniatures, yeah, those miniatures, if they could really be called miniatures, are from the Cthulhu Wars board game that isn't by Onyx Path. But now that we've got over 10 people here, let's start talking about Onyx Path news. Or before we even start getting into that, here's my favourite of the Cthulhu Wars miniatures. This one's Azathoth. As you can see, the trend for orifices in place of, well, other orifices. It continues with Azathoth, who is lovingly designed here. But yeah, I found that these miniatures, when not playing with them, make for excellent bath toys for my toddler. So maybe it's something that I need to branch out into, making Cthulhu children's toys. Hi there, Mac. Hi there, Daniel. We are here for the Onyx Path News number 23. There's 13 viewers right now, and 13 is the luckiest number. I want all of you to give this video a thumbs up right now, so it goes up, 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 up in popularity, and then I will start talking about news, because there's some very exciting news coming up on the horizon. And, alright, so it's news I've given you before. But there's some interesting movements on the schedule as well. Thank you so much. All those thumbs up. Just gone straight up to 6. But I can see there's 14 people viewing. 13 people viewing. I've clearly upset someone. And that means there are more people who can give a thumbs up right now. We're on a thumbs up drive. I want your thumbs. I want you to take your thumbs off and send them to me. Hang on, this is the wrong way to do the trick. I want you to... did you know I have like thumbs like a velociraptor? I can bend them all the way back round. But anyway, 8 thumbs. I think I'll go with 8 thumbs. I can also... that this really is the master of killing time here. We're 4 minutes in and no news whatsoever. But I can make my fingers stretch almost horizontally on the joint, which freaks some people out. Frankly, I don't know why. It's always enabled me to play the piano very well. Maybe, as far as superpowers go, it's not the best. I also have an amazing sense of smell when it comes to certain odours. Anyway. Anyway, think of how quickly I can type with those fingers. We are going to talk a little about the Onyx Path news now. New releases. Let's talk about new releases. So over the last couple of weeks, we've released some minor products, but products we are always very keen on because they're the kind of things that appeal to a niche audience. But as you are role-playing game fans and players, we know that you're a niche audience in general. So let's talk first of all about the Scion journals. And I'm a big fan of the journals we produce for all of our games. They're on redbubble.com. You can type Onyx Path into redbubble.com and the links will appear in the video description below once I'm wrapped up. Or if Travis is feeling friendly, you can pull those links and post them in the chat as we go along. That would be nice, Travis, if you fancy tuning in as we go. The Scion journals, the reason I'm highlighting them this week is because some of my favourite art that we have put into any of our Onyx Path books is in Scion. I was a huge fan of just the Scion symbols in first edition Scion, so getting to see them lovingly presented in journal format is just such a wonderful prop to have at the table, whether it's something the story guide has that you can find in-game as an artifact, and you can find letters scrawled in there, the players, can dig through them, much as in the Horror on the Orient Express Chronicle campaign that I'm currently running for my tabletop players. I love props in tabletop role-playing games, or whether it's just what the players want to use for making notes and detailing how their characters are faring. I think the Scion journals are a wonderful, beautiful little prop that you can have at your tabletop. But that's not all. We've also released a new Exalted book, and I'm going to find the title of it here. It's another issue of the 100 Devils Night Parade. I always get the words mixed up when I talk about the 100 Devils Night Parade. It's Macarios, the Sigil's Dreamer. Now, if that's not mystical and not at all opaque, I don't know what is. From the frozen north to the burning south, we've all been there, and all directions in between, there are creatures that stalk creation. Demons, spirits, monsters, and even creatures who live alongside mankind are in every region. So that's the usual preamble for 100 Devils Night Parade. Well, Macarios the Sigil's Dreamer is available on DriveThruRPG. That's another antagonist or indeed supporting character you can introduce into your Exalted game. And I have started playing an Exalted game at the tabletop. And I have to thank Neil Raymond Price. He's not running it for me, but he did take me through character creation for Lunars on this very channel. And it was that character creation session that got me into Exalted. And it's something I've got to say to you. If you haven't got into Exalted, or indeed any of our games yet, you just don't know what it is about, what you need to, I guess, grok, as people like to say now. I'm feeling very old. To really get into a game, creating a character for that game is often a great way of finding your way in. Which is why on the Onyx Path blog, on theonyxpath.com, we occasionally have character creation blog entries to take you through how to create them. We will do more of those in video as well. And that's actually what I'm going to take you over to now. Hi, Pavel, by the way. I'm going to talk a little about these videos. Because, as you will know if you've been following our Twitch channel, we have been producing a hell of a lot of videos. You're not going to have seen them all on this YouTube channel because primarily they're streamed live on the Twitch channel, Hi Lady Gamer, and that means you watch them live, and then a week or so later you go and watch them over on their creators' channels. But we're hosting a whole bunch of games. We're hosting V5, we're hosting Mage the Awakening, we're hosting lots of Scarred Lands, Pugmire, Scion as well. There is so much going on our Twitch channel, and here's the cracking news, I guess, is that this news will soon migrate over to Twitch. Now, there's various reasons for that, and the news will end up moving over to YouTube after a few days, a week or so, but it's important that we start focusing on our Twitch channel. Now, do you want to know the business side of it? I'll tell you the business side of it. I like to be honest with you, the viewer. You're taking your time to tune in to listen to me. Well, in that case, I'll take my time to explain the truth to you. It's something myself and Travis Legg in the chat were discussing today, along with Ian Watson. The fact of the matter is, for a company like Onyx Path, Twitch is actually a hell of a lot more beneficial. It's a lot easier to get revenue via Twitch than it is to get revenue via YouTube and Google. So Twitch is just a much more lively place to draw viewers. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to suddenly stop seeing me. It doesn't mean you're going to suddenly stop seeing any other content. All content, almost all content, will move from Twitch to YouTube. But if you want to see it live, Twitch is where you're going to want to go, and that will include the news. So my recommendation is, and Travis, I need you to post that link in the chat log now, The Onyx Path on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/TheOnyxPath. Follow that channel, because you will be notified whenever a new episode goes up. And we've got episodes coming up pretty much every night now, so you don't have to watch all of them, but any that you do watch is greatly appreciated. Oh, there may well be lag, but there's lag in all of our lives. Paladin Demo, we all have to deal with it. Robbie Suzanne is one such person who will be utilising our Twitch channel for streaming. Here's something else you can do. Something you can do to help us all out a great deal is, if you have Amazon Prime, you may not be aware that Amazon Prime comes with a free subscription to a Twitch channel. You can subscribe to a Twitch channel that would usually cost you money to see exclusive content, and you may not have used it for that. Well, if you haven't used your Amazon Prime free Twitch subscription, that's very difficult to say, you can use it on the Onyx Path channel, and it basically boosts our numbers. It gets us more coverage, means more viewers come to us, and all in all, everyone's happier. So please do consider doing that. It will be much appreciated. It's very easy to do. Just go onto Google and type Amazon Prime Twitch in, and you will very easily see how to subscribe for free to the Onyx Path channel and get to see exclusive content and premieres before anyone else who isn't subscribed. So there you go. On the same subject as Twitch, I should talk about some of the streams we've got going. I mentioned some of them by game that are being run, but we have a whole bunch of new content coming up. And in fact, what I'm going to do, because this is going to be helpful to you, I'm going to go through some of the upcoming games and content that we have coming in the coming week. Because Travis, who I know I always give shout-outs to on this channel, but that's because he is a bloody legend, has basically been programming our Twitch channel every single week, and he's just done such a wonderful job. And this week, for instance, this Monday, 3:30 p.m. EDT, we have Scarred Lands, Myths and Matchmakers. On Tuesdays at 8 p.m. EDT, Pugmire, Paws and Claws. Wednesdays, 11 p.m. EDT, Caffeinated Conquests are running Vampire. Fridays, 7 p.m. EDT, Occultists Anonymous run Mage the Awakening. Saturdays, 4 p.m. EDT, Scion, Athens, Ohio. Saturdays, 8 p.m. EDT, Scarred Lands, Pirates of Bloodwater. And Sundays, 1 p.m. EDT, Scarred Lands, the Spiragos trilogy. So there is so much going on our Twitch channel almost every day. Thursday is apparently a dead day, so if you've got a game you want to run and you want us to host it, get in touch with me. The best way to get in touch with me is to go on MatthewDawkins.com. There's a contact button on there. You can send me an email, and I will see whether I can get you on to the channel. Simple as that. I'll be going on there soon as well. I've got a lot of interesting videos planned. So before we start going into news like Kickstarter and Backerkit and community content, I want to hear from you, the viewers. There's 23 of you watching, which is a nice number to watch a live news channel about role-playing games. And 14 thumbs up, although I know I can have more of your thumbs if you're feeling generous. I can see you all. Most of you have got 2 thumbs. I think some of you might have 1 after industrial accidents. That's fine. All I need is 1 thumb each. And you can keep your other thumbs. That's it. There, we went up to 16. I think you will all do perfectly well with a crooked left thumb like I've got, and a sacrifice right thumb there. Okay, so 16 thumbs up, that's good. So yeah, I'm wanting to hear you, listen to you, read your comments, viewers, before we start moving on to other subjects. So, go ahead. What questions do you have? While you're talking about such things, I am going to talk about Backerkit. Because on Backerkit, if you have missed any of our Kickstarters, you can still find Prestige Editions and Deluxe Editions on Backerkit. I say it every single week, but some of you still do not listen. Some of you watch, and then at the end I receive comments that say, well, I missed the Kickstarter where they came from beneath the sea. Can I still back for the deluxe edition if they came from? Well, I don't think it came in a deluxe, but there was a prestige edition. You can still back. You just need to go on backerkit.com. Pavel Novicki says, what kind of creature would want to collect thumbs? A Knuckleaway. Daniel Wright, is Cults of the Blood Gods going to be a Kickstarter? Yes. Charlie Jerry, Andre called, he wants to borrow your stash. Andre has enough thumbs, he doesn't need more. I need the thumbs at this point. There are 23 viewers, only 16 thumbs, so either that means we've got a lot of digitally impaired viewers, or people are holding out on me. Pavel, are there any new information about Lord Camden as part of Cults of Mithras in Cults of the Blood Gods? Lord Camden does make an appearance in Cults of the Blood Gods. Mark Ray, ever think of running one-shots only on Twitch show? Yes, I will be running a bunch of one-shots on the Twitch channel, because I think that's an excellent way, and Travis thinks that's an excellent way of getting new people into a game. James Carson, is there anything planned for Promethean? There will be Promethean content in Dark Eras 2 coming up very, very soon, including in some of the eras that I developed, such as the Great War and the Seven Wonders of the Ancient World. Those were great fun to develop, and the Faceless in the Great War era are tragic. I'm not counting the dislikes. There are 6 of them. 6 dislikes, CRK? Well, to the dislikes I say, fuck you. I didn't see that last comment because I was immersed in vitriol, because, after all, we were talking about Promethean. So let's talk about Kickstarter. The next Kickstarter coming up is going to be for Deviant the Renegades, but don't sit on Deviant. Isaac, I know more about Vampire the Masquerade than Requiem, however I can't seem to suss out the Nosferatu curse from Vampire the Masquerade. Can you help? The Nosferatu curse in Vampire the Masquerade is that they are hideous to behold. They are all monstrous, not like me. They all have horrendous appearances. The traditional... and we are best friends with the Talsorian. Our Talsorian Twitter. I feel like I would need to keep bugging you, Matthew, until you, Dixie, and Eddie continue your Scion game. We will continue it. We will. On Twitch. How do I create a PDF in alpha test for the Fear fans? The Signal RPGs got me making character sheets. You'll need to look that up on Google. See, me telling people to interact makes people give thumbs down as well. I don't mind. I honestly don't mind. I do mind. I'm going to cry a liquid ounce of tears for every thumbs down. Charlie says, are things going well for Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition? I've heard some online complaints about the meta plot compared to V20. I don't see any issue with the V5. Some people don't like it. It's a new edition. There were some controversies. People got mired in it. But I don't think it has nearly affected the product line as much as some of the critics think it has. If we thought it was a bad idea, we wouldn't be producing books for it. So, as the developer of Chicago by Night, Chicago Folios, Let the Streets Run Red, Cults of the Blood Gods, co-developer of The Fall of London with Mo Diffius, and a writer on the V5 Player's Guide, as well as being a writer on V5, Camarilla, and Anarchs, I do not think there is a problem with the V5, but I may have a little bias. So, I was talking about Kickstarter. We've got Deviant the Renegades coming up on Kickstarter. Do check theonyxpath.com to keep updated on Deviant and what it's about. We're posting blog entries regarding Deviant pretty regularly, and the forum on the Onyx Path forum and the Discord for Deviant the Renegades is pretty much a buzz. A lot of people are really enjoying the idea of Deviant. It's just wholly new. And so, yeah, I think it's going to do well on Kickstarter. I rather do. My viewers do like to troll me, CRK, but what they don't know is their trolling is flying into the void because I can't see their thumbs down. If I could take a screenshot of my screen right now, you would see that there are just 28 people watching, thumbs up 17, nothing there for thumbs down. So I will continue to live in blissful ignorance. Thank you very much. And that is how I will die as well. So yes, Deviant the Renegade is coming to Kickstarter within the next couple of weeks, but that isn't all. We also have, coming soon, a Kickstarter for Hunter the Vigil. We will also have, coming soon, a Kickstarter for Mummy the Curse. And also coming soon, a Kickstarter for Cults of the Blood Gods. Will they all be running at the same time? Will they be taking time to come out? We'll have to see. Have you thought about combining your two loves and finally making that 50 Shades of Grey RPG? No. Simon Manson says the likes just went up. Of course they did. Isaac Myers, how many different playable monsters can a Chronicles of Darkness line have? Ask the Contagion Chronicle, where you can play them all in the same game. I developed the Contagion Chronicle. It was one hell of a project. Probably the most onerous project I've worked on, and I don't mean that in a strictly negative way. It just takes a lot to develop a book that is all about playing vampires, werewolves, mages, Prometheans, changelings, sin eaters, hunters, mummies, beasts, demons, deviants, and if I've missed one of them, then sucks to be them, I guess. Yeah, so with that said, let's talk a little about community content. Community content, again, God, Travis, anyone think that I'm your biggest fan? Because Travis and his team, he may take exception to it being called his team, but damn it, he is one hell of a workhorse, have been working on the Vengeance of the Shunned campaign for Scarred Lands. And the Vengeance of the Shunned Scarred Lands campaign is being uploaded routinely to the Slarecian Vault. The Slarecian Vault is the community content program for Scarred Lands. So, Travis and a whole team of writers have been uploading campaigns, characters, abilities, artifacts, things like that, all in separate products to the Slarecian Vault. And it is making one hell of an expansive campaign setting for the Scarred Lands, for your D&D 5th edition games. And I really have to recommend you check it out. Even if you just check out the first couple, Travis is an excellent GM. He is also an excellent writer, and his team are brilliant. I've just been reading through the Cliffs of Death. I've not quite got up to date with all of the Slarecian Vault updates, but I do read them as and when I can. And it's just such a fantastic campaign. It's just wonderful to see the community getting involved to that degree. When did we get so involved in community content, asked Isaac. Over the last year or so, with Canis Minor for Pugmire, and with the Slarecian Vault for Scarred Lands, but also, and this is a very exciting one, the Storypath Nexus for the Storypath system. You may be unfamiliar with the Storypath system. It's the system that Trinity, Scion, Dystopia Rising, Evolution, and They Came From Beneath the Sea all use. And we have opened up the Storypath Nexus so you can start creating Scion content. And eventually that will expand to the other Storypath games. Now, what does that mean? What could you create for Scion and sell and make money on? Well, the simplest is pantheons. Pantheons of deities. If there's a pantheon that you have not seen addressed in Scion but you really want to see in the game, create it, upload it to the community content program. Boom, done. You could create ready-made characters. You could create monsters of legend. You could create a full-blown story, a campaign for players to play in. You can create PDFs that are 1 page through to 200 pages if you have the time, the resources, and the inclination, and you can sell them on the Storypath Nexus, just as you can for Scarred Lands on the Slarecian Vault. I'm back. I was going to start a new video, but instead I survived. I survived the disconnect, and I am here. There we go. There we bloody go. Ha ha ha. I triumphed. The internet failed. Now all we need to do is balance the camera again. I didn't forget your thumbs, ladies and gentlemen, and others. I am back. Unfortunately, the viewership sank down. Oh, and it shot back up again. See, your dedication was what I was after. I needed your tribute. And I think some people just gave their thumbs freely so that I might return. They were right. I did. So that's it. Give us your thumbs up. We have returned from the wilderness. So I was waxing lyrical about community content, and thank you. And Slurician Vault, Story Path Nexus, Canis Minor. I hope you didn't miss much of it. But please, if you think of yourself as a GM or even just an imaginative player, it is definitely worth your while uploading something to one of those community content programs because you make money from it. It really isn't rocket science. It was the thumbs that summoned me back. It was the thumbs that summoned me and Great Cthulhu on this day. We both emerged from the darkness, from the deep. They came from beneath the deep due to all the thumbs that were being sacrificed in our names. So, thank you very much. Ivory Knight, you are going to be uploading things for Scion to the Story Path Nexus. That's what we want to hear. So, we have been through new releases that those are always a bit wet because they've been in the bath. I don't play with them in the bath. Or then again, maybe if I did, would it be such a crime? We play with role-playing games. No, my son, my toddler, plays with my Cthulhu Wars miniatures in the bath. I think they make for excellent bath toys. He is a particular fan of Great Cthulhu. He also likes Nyarlathotep. He can say Nyarlathotep. Not bad for a 3-year-old. He doesn't really go ER at all, but there's Nyarlathotep there with looking rather obscene. But of course he does. He also likes saying Azathoth. Maybe if he says it enough times, the one of the great old ones will emerge from the drain pipe. We'll have to see. So let's talk a little about project movements. Now, there's actually been a fair amount that's been moving recently on the schedule, and we don't always get a chance to talk about this on the live stream news. But I can tell you, for instance, that there's been some very exciting movements on some of my projects. Shunned by the Moon, for instance, for Werewolf the Forsaken, will be released this Wednesday in print. So if you're not a PDF buyer, but you are interested in Werewolf the Forsaken Shunned by the Moon, all errata has been incorporated. You can now download it in PDF and buy it in print. As the Lady Gamer says, read it. And I mean that. She means that as well. We both mean it earnestly with all of our thumbs, because it is one of the best bestiaries I have ever seen. Let alone for Chronicles of Darkness. It was a real work of, a labour of love in a lot of ways for Leith Shields and Chris Allen, who co-developed it with me. And but the writers, the entire team of writers, I probably couldn't name all of them if I tried, but I will. And I'll therefore miss some people out and be horribly rude. So there was me. That's the only one I can remember. But yeah, it was a really good book written by an excellent team of writers. I recommend looking up Night Horrors Shunned by the Moon. It will be available in print on demand on Wednesday. We also have other movements. I know a lot of you are Vampire fans, Vampire the Masquerade fans. You will see this week that Let the Streets Run Red has entered editing, so that's exciting. Chicago Folios is also in editing and art. We will also have Cults of the Blood Gods for V5 has moved back from manuscript approval to me for post-manuscript approval development. What does that entail? Well, we send these books to White Wolf to approve because Vampire is, of course, a product that they need to keep a close eye on right now. There's lots of moving gears going on for Vampire the Masquerade. Board games, video games, card games, and role-playing games, and they all need to make sense. Well, Cults of the Blood Gods has some changes required. That's always the way. That is always the way. And that isn't a complaint. That is just part of a licensing deal. The person who owns the license has final say over what goes into your book. So we get them to check the manuscript rather than laying everything out in PDF and then saying, tell us what you want us to change, because that's a real pain. We get them to review the manuscript. They tell us what they want changed. So they then send it back to us. We change it. I think Lady Gamer's disciplines more along the lines of presence than dominate. I'm probably more of a dominate person. Anyway, buy it. There. We go on with Cults of the Blood Gods. So Karim, one of the White Wolfers, has left a lot of notes throughout Cults of the Blood Gods. It's my job to review them, to go back on some, incorporate others, see what I can change to make fit. Sometimes there's major changes, sometimes it's minor changes. But you accept as a developer of a game on a licensed property that that's just something you have to do. This isn't our world, it is a White Wolf property, and therefore we are subject to what they deem proper and improper. There you go, Lady Gamer using presents now. Can I give examples of some of the changes you were asked to make? Asked Daniel Wright. Well, that's always a dangerous thing to do, because if I talk about something that is being cut, there will inevitably be someone who says they prefer that to the thing that's being added. I don't have any news on V5 Sabat right now, Simon, but for instance, so I can talk about it in a rather minor way. The Church of Cain are appearing in Cults of the Blood Gods, and they have been designed to form a certain structure and emulate a certain thing. I'm being very vague here, in Cults of the Blood Gods. Now, White Wolf want them to look a different way. And the reason they want them to look a different way is because of something that's happening with another product. So all of these things need to work in tandem with each other. It's part of the reason I'm often hired for different vampire products, because I can carry that knowledge over between different books. It makes the entire process easier. But ultimately, White Wolf are the final arbiter, as they should be. And so what that means is I need to do a little bit of rewriting on some of the cults, like the Church of Cain, like the Church of Set, just to make sure that they gel with the rest of how the World of Darkness is going to look. Were the changes stylistic or more concerning the lore? More concerning the lore than stylistic. I hire a very good team of writers for all of my books, and the Bahari will be in there as well, Charlie. I am also a very, strict developer when it comes to content. I don't like to send manuscripts off to White Wolf incomplete. I don't think many people would, but I am very much trying to send them a finished product, so there's less I need to do off the back end. Sometimes I need to change things, sometimes I don't, and in this case it's a book that needs things changing. Let the Streets Run Red needed some changes as well, but all the suggestions that were made were incredibly productive. They all made the chronicles or stories within that book better. So yeah, that's something that happens. Mummy the Curse continues on in development, so that's a game I'm having a lot of fun with. As we've mentioned, Deviant the Renegades is going to be on Kickstarter very, very soon. We have some other changes made as well, which I'm quite excited about. I'm going to... Who would you say knows more Vampire the Masquerade lore? You or Justin Achille? Would you ever have a game show type lore off, says Daniel Wright. I think I probably know more now, because Justin hasn't really been involved with it in the last 5 years or so. And a lot has changed in the last 5 years. But I think it would be a fun contest. We'll get Mark Reinhagen. We can get all the previous developers of Vampire. We'll get Mark, Andrew Greenberg, we could get Justin, we could get Eddie, we could get me, we could get Martin Eriksson as well, of course, and we all just have a big fight. I hope my connection hasn't dropped again. I believe I'm still talking. Anyway, so we need some more information. And here's what it is. Here's some other changes in the schedule that you will find today. The Scion Companion has moved to manuscript approval. So that's moved up. Scion Dragon has moved up to manuscript approval. And here's a very small product that I developed and wrote. The Werewolf the Apocalypse gift cards. They have entered editing. Now, what are gift cards? Well, just like in D&D, you can have spell cards, so you can have your spells as props like we're doing with quips, and they came from beneath the sea. Gifts are the powers in Werewolf the Apocalypse. And he has at least two. and the gifts on cards just make them a lot more tactile, a lot more usable at the tabletop. It's dynamic. So I have written up a bunch of Werewolf the Apocalypse gift cards that are currently being edited, laid out, so you can buy all your gifts for Werewolf the Apocalypse in card form. Simple product, but it will be released relatively soon, currently being edited. I have also written an art book for Werewolf the Apocalypse 20th Anniversary Edition. Didn't have to do much writing in that because it's art, but I did lots of little captions and the like. And that's currently with White Wolf for approval. So with that said, and notwithstanding, as I often say, our news show has pretty much come to an end. Unless the viewers have questions. Is there a possibility of using Twitch to showcase the artists working with Onyx Path, especially to show us their art inspirations? That's a fantastic idea. Take a note, Travis. System says, congratulations on your first shift, etc. My first shift? I've been doing this a while. How do you feel about the current Malkavians? I've heard myths of the fish malks and some concern that the clan will just be a mockery of mental illness. No, that isn't the current Malkavians. I made sure of that because I wrote the clan for V5. Would you see Jason Carl as Jason... Oh. as Trebek, played by Will Ferrell in Celebrity Jeopardy? No, Jason's his own man. He doesn't need to be Alex Trebek. Is that the Vampire Heritage board game on your shelf? Not anywhere you can see, but as I seem to end up showing it on every damn video. Here's the Vampire Heritage board game. It is on a shelf, but it wasn't on a shelf that you could see. I'll be interested now to know which board game we're talking about. This is where everything ends up going a bit off the rails, because I open things up to questions. You start asking me about things in the bookcases behind me. The library does go on, but I can't very well turn it. I think I have shown people on some occasions. There's lots of old retro video games down there as well. What major changes can we expect coming with Werewolf the Apocalypse 5th edition? I'll make something up because it hasn't been announced yet. All the werewolves are dead and you are forced to play weresharks. It's called Rokia the Apocalypse. Just wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you for Becky Chad Diary, says the Luckstool. Superb writing, great graphics, stirring reading. Thank you. That was probably my opus of development. And whether I want it to be or not. I co-developed it with Neil Ramon Price. He was the first developer, I was the second, and undoubtedly it's probably the game book I will be remembered for if I'm remembered for anything. And as Brian says, eventually those shelves will come down, fate has spoken, and when they do, I will have lived the best life and died the best death. I can't think of a better way to die than being buried alive under role-playing games and a bottle of... What's that up there, actually? There's a bottle of something. I think it might be champagne. Oh, well, that's got a bit warm. Any word on the Dystopia Rising game? I've not heard much of that lately. Let's have a look. How is Dystopia Rising Evolution doing? Dystopia Rising is currently in errata. So there you go. So it's very close to release. Half of your views on guides to clans are mine. Oh, thank you, Luck. Still, I know that takes a lot of dedication because not all of them are very good. It is, of course, a bottle of Vitae, but unfortunately, it's gone off. Any other questions before I sign off? Matthew, were you ever interested in writing a piece of fiction, short story, or even a novel? And if yes, how soon can we expect something like that? And I'll get to your question in a second, Caffeinated Conquest. I wrote fiction for the Endless Ages anthology for Vampire the Masquerade, so I have written some vampire fiction. I've also written some vampire fiction in Vampire the Masquerade source books, but I've never been interested in writing a novel. It's not really the kind of writing I'm good at, in my opinion. I'm sure I could become good at it if I spent enough time, but when does one have the time? So what other questions do we have here? Caffeinated Conquests. I'm not sure if you can answer this or not. Of course, if not, no worries. Has White Wolf approved, or are they currently interested in approving anything for the World of Darkness game lines outside of Vampire? I can't talk about that because if they had, you would have heard about it via a press release. You're probably not going to hear about it here first. Your Pentex guides have helped me get into Werewolf a lot. Thank you. You know what? I love it when people talk about the Pentex guide to werewolves and the Requiem clan guides, because if anything, those are the ones I'm proudest of. The Masquerade clan guides that I did, the Gentleman's Guide to Vampires, start off very they start off with me talking out of character about vampire, because that's all they were at first. It's only when I got about halfway through the clans they started becoming in character, and I started developing a character of myself as a vampire. But a lot of people forget that. It's one of those Mandela effects. People think that throughout I was playing a Cappadocian or Harbinger talking about vampires, but I wasn't. Whereas Pentex Guide to Werewolves, I was Harold Zettler, the Malkavian anti-tribute Pentex director, throughout the entire thing. And the Requiem clan videos, I'm playing a member of the clan talking about the clan in each one. Let's see. Will we ever get more Thin Blood Alchemy in the Blood Cult book? Says Sumi. You will get more Thin Blood Alchemy in the Blood Cult book. That was easy. Wayne Seeger. Will the Exalted monthly entries be available as a bundle in one book? They will indeed. CRK, time such an elusive thing, always escaping us. It does. It's like deadlines. I love the sound of them as they whoosh past, as Douglas Adams once said. Charlie Jerry, you should be proud. Your Pentex persona is palpable. Tasty, even. Jenny Bish says, oh yes, your Pentex Guide to Vampire have been used frequently for reference with my group. Thank you for producing them. Excellent work. Thank you very much, Jenny. Simon, the Pentex Employee Indoctrination Manual, I co-wrote that, and I wrote the Pentex Guide to Werewolves in that, but I'm talking about the Pentex Guide to Werewolves videos. Schrodinger's cat, Moin. Sumi says, honestly, can't wait for more Pentex lore in V5. So excited for when they come back. Yeah, I put Pentex in pretty much every book now. Always have. My philosophy with Pentex has always been make them ubiquitous. They are the world. There's Pentex everywhere. I know I've said it in a few different recordings, but if your characters ever stop at a gas station in one of my games, it's inevitably Endron. If they ever have to meet in a restaurant, it's an O'Tolly's. If they ever have to buy drugs for someone, it's from a Magadon pharmaceutical pharmacy. So I do it because when you inevitably play Werewolf and you find out who the big antagonist is, or one of the heads of the worm is, and you realise that all of these different places you've been stopping in games of Mage and Vampire and Changeling, the world is Pentex. Pocket has already happened. So, do you know if Aberrant backers that backed that last year will get the Trinity Core PDF sooner rather than later, given it was kickstarted before Aberrant started? Brian, if you backed a level that got you the Trinity Core PDF, then yes, you will get it earlier. Well, you'll get it, I imagine, at the same time as you get the Aberrant PDF. But if you didn't back at that level, you won't get it for free. You'll need to buy it on DriveThruRPG. Those books are coming out very soon, though. So, we are very near the time that a news channel, a news show, should never run this long, but people do love to engage. I do like talking to you. I love talking to you, honestly. It's always great fun. And as you can always tell, I'm quite enthusiastic about the role-playing games that I work on and the gaming industry in general. I know it sounds like I'm winding down. Thank you, Caffeinated Conquests. You know I love you. I love talking to you too, CRK. See, there's a lot of love in this room. After all the talk of sacrificing thumbs and those 7 dislikes that are still on this fucking video, I am as lucid as can be. Doki Doki Senpai. Doki Doki Literature Club. A game that you shouldn't play unless... No, a game you should play. Just don't look it up. There you go. There's the advice for today. Doki Doki Literature Club. Go on Steam, download Doki Doki. Don't look into it beforehand, just play it. Expect the first half hour to strike you as not at all odd, and then things might get a bit odd. Those dang upside down thumbs, may Cthulhu remove them. There we go, one of them went away. Thank you, thank you. Oh, 2 of them have gone away. So some of you are still watching after giving me a thumbs down. I don't know what that says about you. What that says about you, that you feel the need to watch me talking, pouring my heart out as you pour your thumbs onto me. All facing, and look, they've gone back up again. Right, that's the last time I mentioned thumbs. It does look like some anime nonsense, Simon, but yes, you do. As Lady Gamer says, it's a cute game about a literature club. That's all it is. So, I will take 3 more questions because I'm an addict, and then I will go. 3 more questions. 3 more questions. No one has any questions. Well, don't I feel embarrassed. So with that in mind, I will sign off very shortly. Ah, there we go. Hey, haha, ho ho! Jenny Bish says, thoughts on the Korax? I think the Korax is probably the second best breed next to werewolves. Garou. What game are you playing in your free time? Ha, free time. I'm playing in a few games, actually. So I run Horror on the Onyx Express, which is Call of Cthulhu 7th Edition. I am playing an Exalted game as well. I was until recently running a Wraith 20 Chronicle, which will start up again soon, I have no doubt. So yeah, I'm playing in Vampire the Masquerade 5th Edition, run by the Lady Gamer, and I am running Cult Divinity Lost for the Red Moon role-playing team. So yeah, I'm doing a lot of gaming. Best breed, says Jenny Bish. The best breed is Garou, has to be. 31 thumbs, 33 viewers, not bad, Omikun. What about your Scion Origin Tokyo Noir session? Yes, the players have all reconvened. Coming soon, we will have more Scion Noir recaps. Simon Madsen wants to ask about Brexit. Go on, you can ask one question about Brexit. Let's get political. We're not at the dinner table. Hans says, what games do you play with your wife and son? I don't. They're not role players. And my son is 3 years old. So mostly games with trains, train tracks and the like. Charlie Jerry, has your son become Barley yet? He won't. He will reach Golconda before that happens. Terry Moore, how many in-person versus through group chats? I don't do any role-playing through group chat. It's all either in-person or audio. Schrodinger's cat, yay. Sumi, is Pentex responsible for Brexit? No, unfortunately not. One cannot lay Brexit at the feet of Pentex. That is a purely human-driven catastrophe. Daniel Wright, thoughts on your lovely new Prime Minister? I know I have a new Prime Minister. I don't think I've got a lovely one. And Pavel says, recaps are great, much easier to digest than whole streams of the session. Does the Garou Nation support Brexit? And on that note, I think we will leave that mystery to be solved on the next news episode, whether the Garou Nation supports Brexit or not. Maybe the Black Spiral's answers do. Thank you very much for watching. I am going to sign off. Bye-bye.